see if that's true, as well as a vanilla blaster. So let's go ahead and just solve the mystery here, Keone, of what these teams are going to be running for us and jump on into game number one.
Yeah, game number one going to be coming up here. Koalition on Alpha side. No creith, no bow is Bravo for us today here. As we do take a look at the weapons, there are no undercover umbrellas. I know your teammate Cracker will only sorely be disappointed here, DRF, with that. But hey, we got weapons here. Dynamite, by the way, on Dynamo. That is, I guess that's
literally none of these weapons were on Sendu.
They have fooled you today because Dreadbringers has made a showing. Frozen Pro as well. I think we got a wide assortment of weapons here. No mirrors to really speak of as well. So a lot of fun dynamics, I will say, DRF are in play as both the teams are jostling for the first zone, rather than the zone.
All right, yes, it is a fight for early control, as it looks like that Stamper is going to get shut down there, trying to make it a bit of an aggressive play on the back line. Grab. So now no creith, no bow, able to find a 3-down situation here, able to force a bit of a stagger now as well. So they're going to be set up in a potential lockout position here. Perfect control of the stack, pushing forward just a little bit, and now the specials coming in. A huge play there with the missiles plus the zip caster. Now able to get the Koalition back in and secure control of the zone before things could just get a little too out of hand.
Yeah. Now nice little cap of that zone. Now they can see if they can push a little bit further, and they're able to. They're gonna be able to, even though it's a 2v1. They're up against a crab tank that is gonna at least be the zone that sticks in their favor. Maybe in the short term, they did lose a handful of members. Right, their opponent is gonna be the one that has to get the jumps in for the Koalition. So looking to see what No Creith Global can do. And these fights are all happening really fast. They're all happening very fast. At least with the Koalition getting the delayed wipe as well. Poland, by the way, using the Tenno missiles to be able to scout out the rest and be able to disperse the other team members from No Creith, No Bow. DRF, the Koalition is basically a small bump in the world. They're able to get the zones back. They're going to be out of the penalty points here soon, and they're able to keep the advantage going. Did they just eliminate two members, make that 3 members from No Creith, No Bow down, and this is looking really soft for the Koalition, at least for this counter push, DRF.
A fantastic position to be in, lockout ready, as they do get one of their players up top. It's the 52 gal that's just causing a lot of havoc there, but as soon as they go down, now the numbers are even, the rest of the team's back up. So this next fight's going to be taking place right around the zone, not able to cap the zone just yet. So this timer, or the scoreboard, keeps ticking here. Finally able to find one more, but now it's a 2v2. Are they gonna have the angle here to try to neutralize the zone? And it's not quite enough, as the Koalition is gonna be able to hold on here in game number one.
That Frozen Pro can be an absolute menace if they're able to make some of their advantages count. And I think I saw that from Poland as well, just able to get so much advantages there with not just their main weapons, but also using their special as well to just keep the Koalition's aggression going. And that has just been solid play all around from the group. Yes, a bit of a slow start for the Koalition, but they were able to get that one through to the very end for that team. And on top of their weapons, they love to play fast, even in slight disadvantage situations. And they got No Creith, No Bow in massive disadvantages with the skirmishes they had across the board. So the Koalition had great responses for everything. Sorry, that took me a second to get together my thoughts here, DRF, because No Creith, No Bow already locks in their counter pick, and it is Scorch Gorge Rainmaker coming to this one. So something tells me, DRF, they may have a plan with this particular map in terms of how fast they counterpicked it, or it's just a map that just works out well to their strengths.
Well, we were talking about, the TO and production brain versus, the heart.
Yep.
And, hey, all I'm saying is that No Creith, No Bow, when winning the, my TO heart for putting in that counter pick in record speed. See, that's how you do it. You have your counter picks ready, and you just know what you want. I think this late into a tournament, we're like right in that sweet spot where You know, it's not necessarily grand final, so you don't start overthinking things yet. I think, you know, that tends to happen winners finals, losers finals, grand finals. You know, we're right before then when your counter picks, you know what has been working for you all tournament long. You know, at this point you've played, this is your 9th round of competition. You've played almost every map mode, maybe a couple of times even. So you should have a pretty darn good idea of what works well, and it seems like they know Rainmaker Scorch Gorge is the map mode for them.
I feel like, and this is one I'm gonna be intrigued to see what No Creith wants to do with this particular map mode combo. I know it makes you and every TO happy to see this get picked right, to have their counter picks ready to go and prepared. So what only gathers my mind here is what will be the game plan that they got, because this is what they had right in store for them. They have something that this is probably a map that is that suits their strength, so they're just really good at being able to play this one. But at the same time, this could also be a map where Koalition knows how to strike. I'm gonna need to pause that thought here though about that one. There are massive weapon changes across the board. In fact, not many that seems very familiar. Sploosh sighting from Koala. Poland goes off of the Frozen Bro, over to the sloshing machine, the two main weapons of choice. Kenji is switching, going to the Ink Burst, and a custom E-Leader sighting as well, also the T-Tech. So major weapon changes across the board here, DRF, and I think both teams may have some ideas on how to work all these out.
It's always a pleasant surprise to see the Sploosh come out on a Rainmaker match. So immediately my eyes are just glancing towards, you know, what the Sploosh can do here. As early on, this initial skirmish, just gonna find a couple of picks around the center of the map here, but no one really making that first move quite yet. They want to make sure that they've got the numbers on their side before making any sort of rash decisions or even thinking about picking up that Rainmaker, because I don't even think anyone's really tried to get up onto that center platform for positioning. Everyone's just fighting around the Rainmaker right now.
I think the idea is, can we get the advantage that we can work off of with the members that we have picked off? I think this is just more caution rather than anything else. And I don't necessarily blame either team, especially with how these weapons tend to play. You got a little bit more skirmish with the Sploosh. You have the Ink Brush and Splatoon that can wreak havoc here. So I think they're just waiting for the prime opportunity to strike. It has been a 2-down situation so far earlier. Dynaman is just going to pick up that Rainmaker, immediately drops, and it only leads to one measly point, and then we're back to the 2-for-2 trade. So all that being said and done, DRF, we only stand at one measly point that has been scored, and both teams are still skirmishing and volleying for trades.
For the first possession of the Rainmaker, and it lasted for less than a second. And we're still not picking up the Rainmaker. This Rainmaker is gonna reset! Rainmaker has been possessed for 1 second out of the first 2 minutes of this game. We don't need the objective, folks. The Rainmaker is a giant exploding ink ball. Somebody can definitely pick this up and make something happen with it.
I need every team. We need every TO and every player in competitive as lead quickly change his hands. Yes! I was gonna say, what I was immediately gonna say there is we need a TO and players, everybody in chat to ask, when was the last time you saw a 1-point score halfway through score toward Rainmaker? We don't need to worry about that anymore. Advantage, no creith, no bow. E-Leader gets a big onto Poland. That is gonna be nice, but they left Koala uncontested. Koala jumps onto a few members. It's a 2-for-2 trade, but it still leads to the Rainmaker being pushed up here. And Paper and Kenji drops it to the 14 points remaining, and this game, DRF, with what started off so slow in the first half of the game, the next 30 seconds is absolute advantage for no creith, no bow. You're down to 14 points remaining, almost effectively a game-winning push there if they are able to get the defenses going, and no creith, no bow made the most out of every opportunity, DRF.
Yeah, I mean, they were the first team to possess the Rainmaker for more than a second, and I just feel like that's what the win condition is here. It was, be able to, both teams, I think generally were making the right play. They wanted to make sure they can secure the numbers advantage before even attempting a push. And I think that's actually the right play. It just felt like things were really stalling out there. But yeah, no. All that said, Keon, it finally the big explosion here, and it seems like the Koalition is gonna get an opportunity to respond as they find a 3-down situation themselves. But a hero fall off from the, I believe that was out of the shot player, I think, or it might have been the dualies, able to prevent the checkpoint from falling. Finally going to be able to secure it there, but they don't have the numbers, as Paper is going to be able to find a nice double there, but it's still 3 down on the side of no creith, no bow, and they're going to pick up this raid. They let it be.
Yeah, they let it reset. We'll have to let you get your breath there, DRF. There's a lot of crazy things that are following suit here. Now, here's the thing. I don't think that's actually not a bad reset.
It's not a bad reset. I agree. I just wish that both of these teams, I feel like they're letting up their position just a little bit too soon. That's why I'm very visibly frustrated, because I feel like both teams had opportunities to make some bigger plays here. So, but now the Koalition not in a bad spot here. They have an uphill battle, but they have the 1 down. Now they just need to try to do everything they can to keep their numbers up and protect this Rainmaker at all costs. Although now they're being pushed hard by the Killer Whales. Luckily the Killer Whale was not targeted out for them. Somehow Koala dodges a couple of other players there before finally going down. Oh, Kyo, that was one of the single most hectic Rainmaker games that I have had the privilege to watch. Again, it wasn't that things just were going bad or anything like that. I just feel like that. I don't know. It just seemed like the pacing was all over the place, and it created for an entertaining game for sure. This game felt like it actually went on longer than 5 minutes, and I think just because of how long it took for that initial Rainmaker possession. So it definitely is a very unconventional Rainmaker game, but somehow no creith, no bow was the ones to break through and secure the win.
That might be one of the Rainmaker games of all time for some spectators watching this, DRF. But the thing is, these aren't, and the thing is too, I will give credit to both here. Exactly to what we both talked about. I think it was purely numbers advantage game the entire way too. But the problem was both teams were also so equally matched in trades that they were having. You could get a situation where both teams were either 1 down, both teams were 2 down, or you get a 1 down on one side, 2 down on the other side, but they don't feel like it's enough members down. So they're still looking for those opportunities to strike once again, and we only saw what halfway through the game. It was down to the 1 point remaining, and then no creith, no bow. When they found that opening, they took it all the way to that advantage so far. And there too, several opportunities where you feel like the pacing could have made the difference, or some of the decisions or aggression could have made the difference. But both teams, I imagine, opted to play that particular map mode safely and more conservatively, if you will, and that's just how we led to that very interesting Rainmaker game. And I'm sure both teams want to repeat the exact same process here, DRF, because the counterpick from Koalition, hey, we're going back to Rainmaker. This time we're going to get a slightly more condensed map in Realm Back Pump Track Rainmaker, so the exact strategy applies. I wouldn't be shocked that the weapons don't quite change here. Maybe a few tweaks to make it work for this condensed map, but both teams but for the Koalition, I guess they're like, wait, let's go back to Rainmaker, I suppose.
Now, I actually don't hate this counter pick. For folks that might be seeing this, like, why on earth would you want to pick Rainmaker again? Well, first of all, I actually do think that Rainmaker Scorch Gorge just generally, I'm not a fan of the map mode.
Sure.
So it's just that Rainmaker Scorch, it's either very stally or it is just a pure avalanche. And so yes, while I am critiquing the pacing of that game, because let's be honest, it was the two furthest extremes that you could get. We got a 2.5 minute stalemate and then one avalanche that won the game. Like, that was it. With Rainmaker Humpback Pump Track, there is a more definitive pace to this map mode. you're not gonna see what we just saw in Rainmaker Scorch Gorge. So I actually do think this is a reasonable counter pick because this is less about the mode and more about the map. And with
Definitely.
this map, it's probably, again, they do have a relatively diverse arsenal of weapons, so it is going to depend a little bit of what these teams ultimately bring out as we take a look here. So like the Dread Ringer brush combo, I actually really like that out of No Creeth, No Bow. For Koalition, with the Dread Ringer and the Sloshing Machine and the Dynamo, a fantastic combination. So, I really would knock the idea of picking Rainmaker again because the focus here is going to be that they pivoted to Humpback Pump Track.
And Humpback Pump Track plays very differently than Scorch Gorge to even begin with, so it's exactly to your point, it's not really about the mode, it's the map just plays fundamentally differently here, so I wouldn't be shocked if things start to go out of 100. We are still seeing these almost what felt very similar there, a 2-for-2 trade. Mega's just decided to say, let's just pick up this Rainmaker and just see if we can keep it in our possession for as long as we can. Kenji has other ideas. They get the pick onto them. It's now a 3 members down to 2 members down situation going across the board. And it's Kenji that picks up the Rainmaker. They're just gonna run for the hills. A nice little movement, excuse me. But it will be the Rainmaker being dropped, and it is just the 1-for-1 trade now going on that side of the fence. Now we have scores across the board. No checkpoint yet here, DRF, if anything, but 4 minutes left in the game, and so far both teams still as equally matched as ever.
Yeah, so again, we at the very least, we get some Rainmaker possessions early, much different from that last game, as Paper now gonna pop the reslider, see if they can force this checkpoint, but just a little bit too much blue ink right around the pedestal for them to secure the checkpoint. So they're going to go ahead and try to make another play for it as Kenji now is going to be the one trying to make the move. They're going to go down. Paper picks it up. Finally will dunk it down. So it is the checkpoint for No Creeth, No Bow first. But the Koalition doing a great job of holding their elbow right now, making sure that there is no further advancement from No Creeth, No Bow, but 2 members go down. So that's could be a problem, but no, we quickly flip it, and now it's 3 down on the side of No Creeth, No Bow. The Koalition now has an opportunity to pick up this Rainmaker.
The only difference is literally just 1 extra point past the checkpoint. It came down to a nice critical play to make that one all count, to at least get the stop. There is the reslider I think I saw that got a couple members in, and now there's a prime opportunity for No Creeth, No Bow to strike. What I was gonna say there is that the Dynamo got the assist on 1, but staying alive and getting the pick onto the Rainmaker helped open the doors a bit for Koalition's defense to break through, but they just aren't able to get everything to materialize quite yet. But now, this is not remotely safe if you guys are familiar with this map. Because it's so condensed and all the paths to checkpoint are so small, things can pretty much open up in a hurry here for either team, and the Koalition still has a chance to make this one count as they do get the 2-for-2 trade. Both DCAP and the Sammers went down on both ends, so there is still a chance for No Creeth, No Bow to still get a lot of points on board, but they are getting pushed back a bit by the Koalition. There is no Blue Bomb that's going to be used right away here. In fact, 2 members going down. No Creeth, No Bow just got to keep this on defensively until they get all their members back. DRF, 35 seconds left in this Rainmaker. It's gonna get dropped, and both teams are still just trading. This might be the first time in a while I'm seeing a 59 points remain be the winning score so far.
That's probably the part that we're gonna carry over from this previous game. Is I don't anticipate it being super high scoring until maybe one team has a big breakthrough. But it's not gonna be as stally per se. Now, the one thing that I think that actually No Creeth, No Bow needs is they need to find a way to get the Sloshing Machine and the Dynamo down at the same time, because both do an excellent job of holding that elbow, holding that snipe area on the right side, and that's what's been difficult for them to break through, is that as long as one of the Sloshing Machine and Dynamo are alive, it becomes so difficult to break through, as now the Koalition is going to get an opportunity at the checkpoint here. A little bit of a struggle around the pedestal, and Koala's finally going to be able to dunk this one. And it's not going to take much to get the lead. They need to secure this pop, but they need to secure the elbow more importantly, as it looks like No Creeth, No Bow surrounding the elbow like a bunch of piranhas here. And now, finally, Dynamo's going to be able to pick that one up and secure the lead. So Koalition has the lead with 40 seconds to play, Keon, and it seems like No Creeth, No Bow is going to be able to reset this one at the very least, but are they going to be able to secure the lead and respond late?
That's gonna be the big question right now. There's no specials really on either team, so to speak. So that's our situation coming in. There is gonna be that cooler that is available. 2 members have dropped. Now Paper's gonna, Paper going for the left side might have been a bit bold. They're gonna go back to the conventional side of the fence. Megu is right there lurking large. They're losing members left and right so far. 10 seconds left to go on the clock here as the Rainmaker is still in Paper's possession. They have to just stay alive for as long as they can. They gotta get everybody back up. Pencil's there. Blue Bomb's gonna disperse Kenji a bit, but now Kenji has to be the one that provides the opening. Paper's gonna swim to the left-hand side. Nobody's gonna be all over it. Everybody's slightly out of position. Mega's trying to run in with the Zipcaster. They don't even get the pick from the Zipcaster. Paper's move to the left when Koalition focuses right is the game-winning push that they needed. And no creith, no bow goes up 2-1, and they win the Koalition's counter pick here. One more, and they advance to winners finals.
That was such a fantastic play call by No Creith, No Bow. You saw it multiple times that they were flirting with the idea of swinging it left, but as long as the Koalition still had their checkpoint up, they weren't going to commit to the left-hand side. But in that late game situation, where I had exactly called it out earlier, that the hard part of navigating around that elbow is they needed to get rid of both the sloshing machine and the dynamo. And throughout the entire game, I was keeping track of that. They never had both the machine and the dynamo down at the same time. And especially in that late game situation, instead of forcing it, because you know the machine and the dynamo both want to play that elbow area because they can put up an iron defense, why not take that final opportunity when the checkpoint no longer matters? You swing it left. I thought that was a perfect play call, Keon.
I think anybody who knows who watches this will be focusing. In most cases, they're just gonna try to push right. Here's the thing too: the win condition for that one also showed the points remaining, as we did see the counterpoint being Mako TC here. Europe was it's only 36 points remaining. That's really not that much of a distance if you're able to go to that left hand side of the map. And No Creith, No Bow, I think, was biding their time and try to put a lot of focus onto that right hand side of the map where you'd think conventionally you would think that that's where the team will try to push for the game-winning push, but it was all a ruse basically, because it catches Megu off guard. Megu had the right idea with the Zipcaster, but at that point it was almost too little, too late. The Zipcaster was just a few seconds behind. Paper found a perfect trail to get the lead swap when they needed to. Honestly, I think that's more of a fantastic play call and a fantastic call made by No Creith, No Bow to get to the left-hand side. I think I'm in full agreement with you for this one. So Koalition just being caught a few steps behind. Now they have to work with their bait, effectively their last counter pick for this set. They go to Mako TC for this one. Now, you and I are both suckers for Game 5. I think the Koalition will have to make some gameplay changes, if anything, to make this Mako TC counter pick work. I think I wouldn't be shocked though if there are swaps, but I want to see what Koalition has in store for this particular counter pick.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of adjustments in these first 3 games, and I think that we'll continue to see a number of different, weapons and stuff come out here. Decav, I think, is definitely something to look out for here, especially with tower control, bubble, fantastic combination that I think we will, want to see a little bit more of going into this game. The Dreadringers, I actually feel like, have been working for both teams this set. I think that with Mako Mart, it's still, very slosher friendly. And there's a lot of different aisles to quite literally in the supermarket. You could go down the aisles with all of the reef sliders. I feel like the reef sliders themselves haven't been super online for these teams, but I think the Dreadringer itself can definitely be a big asset for both of these teams. So I'm really intrigued to see, what stays, what goes, what hill does the Koalition stake their claim on? Where are they gonna, put together their last stand?
I think this is going to be the counter pick that Koalition needs to win here, if to stay alive pretty much in the winner side of the fence, and to avoid having to go through the lower bracket gauntlets, so to speak. Here, No Creith, No Bow wants to slam that opportunity shut and move on to winners finals. Which, by the way, DR, we will be covering winners finals on our side, so we got another set ahead of us. the winner of this one plays MAD on the other side of the bracket, which we saw earlier. So both teams will have their work cut out for them once they're through this set. The ultimate question is who's going to ultimately come out on top with from No Creith Nobo versus the Koalition. I'm going to be in full agreement with you. I think ultimately what's going to come down to really it was the gameplay here. You saw from No Creith Nobo as well is they have stuck primarily with a few weapons that have kind of been core to their composition. Koalition, you had Dynamo and Megu on that standard that has been the constant so far. Some changes you see from Poland and Koala. So I want to see what Poland Koala, if they make any changes, what they want to do. The weapon that Poland won with was that Frozen Pro. I wouldn't be shocked if they bring it back up, and that's what they do here.
Fantastic call.
Yep, and Koala gets the blaster, gets that custom blaster next. So now now No Creith No Bow. By the way, they got effectively the T-Tech. That's the kit that we have here. And Zora's on that dualies. Those are the weapon swaps. And yes, the weapon that Koalition won in game 1 didn't involve Poland in that Frozen Pro.
I am a little bit surprised to see the Dynamo sticking around. You know, because I believe that Dynaman does have a couple of chargers up their sleeve as well. You know, and this is still a decent map mode for the Dynamo, but knowing that the other team was probably going to be bringing out the pencil as well, I was almost expecting a bit of a match there too. But nonetheless, you know, very intriguing comps from both of these teams. Both teams are very quick to get their foot on the gas as the Koalition has that checkpoint already taken down and are progressing to checkpoint number 2, and we're less than a minute in.
Now the big thing here is the second checkpoint's always the toughest one to break through because that defensive response goes right into it, and I think Koalition are wisely having to play a bit patiently here, wait for the opportunity to strike. They did lose their blaster from earlier, so that's gonna. There's a lot of things to keep in mind here. Poland, by the way, the weapon, again, the person I have my eyes on gets a pick onto paper. Not able to get the pick on the Kenji. Kenji just ran up on them and gets that one. But at what cost? 3 of their team members. Koalition is able to keep this push alive here. Dynaman immediately using that Dynamo, so just trying to jump and see if they can get a few extra picks themselves. There is the push, by the way. Koala goes deep into the base, of No Creith No Bow, and it allows them to get a few picks on the board. All of the control, all the specials being used, they break it down to the 42 points remaining, and they're still winning some of their fights here. DRF, they're gonna keep this pressure going. DRF.
They certainly will, as they slowly inch the tower forward. Koala does have the triple splashdown ready. They're gonna pop it. Oh, I felt like that might have been a little early, but they managed to find one and not gonna be able to get the second there. But nonetheless, it does slow down No Creith No Bow. So this tower resets, but Koalition maintaining control of mid. Booyah Bomb out, gonna try to clear out the area right underneath the ledge, see if that gives anybody an opportunity to move up. No, with the 2 down, they're gonna be forced to reset. So, you know, things having to everyone kind of hitting the hard reset button now, as No Creith No Bow does get their first possession of the tower. We're halfway through this game, Kyon, and this being the first possession, it seems like they're gonna have to really get close to matching the push that we saw at an opening from the Koalition, and they might just do that.
He might just do that. Kenji's been enabling a lot with some of the fights that they're winning from the. They rushed there, but the wipeout is set. The wipeout is set, and that was a great hold there from the Koalition, and Koalition's able to take that tower and reset it back to where it needs to go. And that was, but at the very least for No Creith No Bow, it's good down the line if they're able to get the setup, they're able to get themselves set up for another push. And so far, with both teams down at checkpoint, nobody getting to the second checkpoint quite yet. Anything can still happen with the way this match is progressing here. I'm thinking specials-wise, it is a cooler that is available. The tandem missiles are being used, so they will be able to seek out a few members, but I believe, on the right-hand side of this particular map. And so far, No Creith No Bow, they're losing a couple members quickly, and this is going to be the Koalition. They're going to be trying to move they're going to try to move ahead, on top of it, and they are slowly inching this tower through, and they might be trying to look for that second checkpoint here, so the triple splashdown is basically used for protection. DRF, we're about 1 minute and 10 left into this game, and the Koalition is still is putting that tower in a position where they can get that second checkpoint if they're able to do so.
Yeah, so they more or less matched where they were, maybe just a couple of points shy there. Towers starting to already reel, but more importantly, Koala is behind enemy lines, and that's the key thing that they need to deal with right now. So it looks like they're going to have to devote some resources to turning around and trying to get Koala finally able to do so, able to pick off a second. So they're going to take a 2-for-1. No creep, no bow with a numbers advantage in the closing 30 seconds. This seems like the prime opportunity, Kyon, for them to be able to force the comeback, but they need to go fast because the last thing you want is any of these GG specials to get ready. But lucky for them, there might just have to deal with the one Frozen Pro if they could get it up in time. But there's no other specials online.
Yeah, there's no specials online. That was all they needed. They got the lead off of it too. That was what it was. That's what I noticed right away. The trip strikes were also used to effectively turn that into the biggest GG strikes that they needed. No creith, no bow. 3-1. The Koalition at the very final seconds of that there DRF. I was worried if the Koalition's defense crumbles at a prime moment, and it sure as heck did. No creith, no bow, from the slow start that they had, wins the next 3. That was a great showing, and the Koalition, they still got one more opportunity. They just have to do it in lower brackets this time.
Yeah, and, you know, it wouldn't be a super long losers bracket run. So, you know, that's what, you know, winning these matches in winners bracket is all about, is that, you know, it gives every match that you win in winners bracket gives you just a little bit more insurance.